This morning, ex-user D. Ricky asked me, what is going to happen when we can all add our cars to the network of Tesla robotaxis? And that's a good question, one I've been pondering for a while, and it came at just the right time. So we're going to have a discussion because I believe we may not be able to add our cars to the official Tesla robotaxi network. Randy Kirk here disagrees because he's been covering this for years and reached different conclusions. So we're going to have a discussion, a debate, a war of words, and one of us will convince the other, probably not, that we are the one who is right. But that's what we're going to discuss. Do you think your car's going to become a robotaxi? I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza. So, Randy, this is the promise from day one. Your car's going to be an appreciating asset. You can add it to, you can flip a switch and turn it on. It's a robotaxi. I'm increasingly skeptical. What do you think?
Well, the first thing I think is that the potential for the largest ever class action lawsuit is definitely in this question. The question raises the issue of whether, if that were true, if you turn out to be right in your analysis, and that we cannot turn our cars uh, into money making machines, there's going to be a lot of disappointed folks, and some of those are going to be litigious disappointed folks. Are people who, in fact, there's going to be people that don't even own Teslas that happen to be ambulance chasing lawyers who will start looking around for a Tesla owner whose car has been in the garage for the last 17 months. They're never intending to use it again, but the lawyer will use that person as the first person in the class action and will try to extract many, many pounds of flesh from a major corporation.
So that is a possibility. Well, let's look at the way the robotaxi network works today. You have the cost of the vehicle, sure. You have the cost of the network fee. Let's say I were to add my car today. Let's say for some reason they let me add my car today. I've already paid for the car or have, otherwise taken care of that responsibility. The network fee would be something like what Uber charges drivers, their cut of the pie. That's easy to manage. That's easy to understand. But then there's the operation of the vehicle, the supervision back at HQ, which will never be zero. It can't be zero. There will always need to be an emergency person standing by to be able to say, are you having a heart attack? Yes, I am. Are you asleep? Wake up. I mean, Grok could do a bit of that, but if the person doesn't wake up, someone's going to need to get involved at some step. That has a cost, a real cost. And I don't know if that's a cost that you can just work into the network platform fee. Could you?
Well, that's where I would expect it to be. So I think a great example of this, maybe even a better example than Uber, would be Apple and their App Store. So you have an app that you put up on Apple, and Apple has lots of expenses associated with maintaining that app. They have to make sure that you're not in violation of any of their principles, any foreign countries' principles or policies or laws. They have to make sure that it's operating and doing everything that it's supposed to do, that it's not in some way defrauding the customers. So they have a bunch of responsibilities that's included in that number that they're charging. I think they're charging 30%, and a lot of people have complained that is a ripoff. And as someone who did own an app for a while, I don't know whether it's a ripoff or not, but it's a high fee, and
Yes,
it's possible that it can be done for far less. But if it's
it
making
isn't.
money,
Right. Right. And I can see both sides of the argument on Apple's 30% fee. For a small publisher, where Apple still has to do all the work, even though they're only selling a few hundred or a few thousand or even a few tens of thousands of copies. But for things like people wanting to support you or I as a subscriber on X, and Apple taking 30% of that is egregious. And then punishing networks, platforms that try and go around it and set up their own payment processing system outside of it is now punished. You'll get kicked off the App Store. That's ridiculous. Well, what if we're not talking about the Tesla robotaxi network, but just my own personal robotaxi network? I have no way to supervise. There's no way for me to have those controls that I'm aware of that has been announced in any way. So that would make us all beholden to the robotaxi network, the official robotaxi network. We couldn't, I couldn't just, could I just send my car to pick up Nana and take her to her doctor's appointment? Is that something I would even be able to do without having someone somewhere uh, accessible at the emergency switch?
Yeah, well, I would certainly think that all of the things that go along with doing any kind of a business apply. So whenever you're in a small business, you have lots and lots of people that are beholden to. You might have a lawyer, you might have a banker, you might have a supplier of raw materials, you might have an accountant, a CPA at the end of the year, and you have government agencies. So you're going to have all those things. So if you decide to put your car into a fleet, or you maybe have multiple cars, maybe you have 100 cars, maybe you're Hertz, and you're like, you've got thousands of cars and you want to put them out there, and you don't want to play ball with Tesla in terms of the fleet. You just want to use the FSD that is the same for everybody, and you want to create your own fleet. Well, now you're going to have to decide which one of those uh, uh, services are you willing to supply in-house? Which one of those are you going to go out and have done for you? And at the end of the day, is it cheaper and just better to use the Tesla fleet? The biggest one of those issues would be marketing. So if Tesla is going to be marketing the fleet and therefore get you more rides, that alone could be a reason for going with the Tesla fleet as opposed to doing it independently.
But I want to send, but this was never advertised as just a business thing. And none of those costs were ever mentioned. It was just going to be unsupervised. Uh, could I, how is unsupervised going to work when no one's in the car? There still has to be an emergency operator somewhere, doesn't there? I mean, ideally, we would get down to OnStar kind of numbers where it's, $30 a year or $50 a year. And it's a button that you expect to never see pressed. But I don't see how I don't see how it works. I think that the cost of any kind of supervision, even if it's only once every 5 rides, would start chewing into the amount that we paid. Once every 5 rides, if you're paying 100, $200 a month for FSD, you could burn through that immediately, very, very in 1 week, easily, in with even very limited interventions.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you and I that had the conversation last week, but I was brainstorming with somebody that about the insurance aspect of it as well, which is the biggest cost that Tesla will probably have to endure when they have these fleets out there. Even though there'll be fairly limited numbers of accidents, there can be still riot damage. There can be just people that are messing with the car, causing damage. So there's going to be an insurance impact, and so how's the insurance going to work? And it could be tied into this very thing that you're talking about. So it may be that even if I'm just going to put my car out unsupervised, that I would buy a package. Maybe it's
Hmm.
$50 a month. Maybe it's $100 a month. That gives me all of that. It gives me the OnStar. It gives me the insurance. But with the understanding, and Tesla having the understanding that basically you go into a court of law, and the lawyer is going to be looking at Tesla before they look at me. They
Mhm.
have deeper pockets.
Yeah, because it also depends on the jurisdiction, and there are laws now that let big companies kind of shop for their jurisdiction in many cases. So what then? So let's talk about the logistics of it. In terms of satisfying demand, Tesla could increase production substantially in the US and put all of those vehicles into their own fleet. I would argue that Tesla could ramp production of their own vehicles more quickly than they could possibly deploy them to new markets. Especially when it comes to, I mean, they could take, this was the original plan, take every lease return that comes in, heck, take every trade in that comes in, deploy that, and continue making money selling new vehicles. Or they could sell fewer new vehicles, or they could stop selling new vehicles at all. I mean, they could today dedicate hundreds of thousands of units to the US market just by not selling to consumers anymore. And there's no way they could deploy vehicles, is my argument, as quickly as they could build them? What say you?
Well, that's a really, really good question. And of course, this is one that Kathy Wood has been looking at for years now, before I was even involved, before I started writing the book. So the question, and this is my bailiwick, the marketing side. And so yeah, you've got a definite situation where you've got to get the demand up in order to meet whatever supply that Tesla wants to throw at it. And so does the demand come first? Does the supply come first? You pointed out in a video with me the other day, you said, hey, the Tesla can afford to just have cars that are sitting out there, but maybe I can't. So if it's my fleet car and I'm saying, hey, I need to have this thing, generating at least this much a day, or it doesn't make sense. Whereas Tesla can kind of say, yeah, whatever. If it's only getting 2 rides a day until the demand catches up, that's okay. So we have, you could have different people with different desires in that regard. Tesla is going to have this is going to be one of the places where AI is going to be just amazing.
Mhm.
AI is going to be able to look at the demand requirements in every jurisdiction where it's out. It's going to be able to make decisions about deployments. It's going to be able to make decisions about pricing. And this is where again, Kathy Wood and others have done some analysis where if it gets under $1 a mile, the number of people that will just stop driving their cars, or stop owning a car, uh,
Yes, but none of
jumps.
that really.
Yeah,
Yeah, but they would still be able to produce more vehicles more quickly than deployment would
maybe.
require. Because, well, definitely, because if people aren't buying cars, a purchased car doesn't have the same utility
Yeah.
as a robotaxi. So one robotaxi could easily do the work of three, four, five cars.
5 to 7. I did some analysis
It
recently.
depends
I
on
think
the
twice.
hours.
Yeah, yeah,
It depends on the hours because a lot of people need the cars during the same hour.
right.
I have seen a lot of people under this wild misconception that robotaxis will all be running 24/7, and that's just not how the market demand works.
Oh no, but there's other uses. So as you've pointed out, there's the Uber Eats, so there's the food delivery, and there's also
Not at 3 a.m.
package delivery. So
Not at
overnight,
3 a.m.
well, package.
It's going to be quiet. Not even half the fleet will be running at 3 a.m. They're
Well, you have to
if
charge
you
them. So
if you
you
want
have
to
to charge
deliver
them up.
packages at 3 a.m., how do you get them out of the car?
So you have to. So
With an
you.
Optimus, then people steal them off the porch in the dead of night.
So
Nah,
you.
there's going to be applications that will arise, but you will never get the whole fleet to 24/7. That's just not how humans live.
Well, you do have to have a time when you're charging them up. And when it comes to nighttime deliveries, I'm thinking more in terms of the in commercial uses, commercial capabilities of doing nighttime deliveries, where you be depositing them into some kind of a lockbox.
Mm.
And the lockbox idea is, I think, huge for the future, both for homeowners and for businesses. I think we will eventually have a situation where Optimus will come up. Optimus will have a code embedded within Optimus. Uh, the code will open up the lockbox. You'll take things out. You'll put things in. This is where the future is going, I think.
So if Tesla can scale like that, if they're able to keep their fleet out at a better rate than you, because Tesla doesn't need, they're paying 20% less for the car. They're not really paying for the network fee. They're going to be able to outcompete me substantially, even if my car is valued at a depreciated level since it's a pre-existing vehicle. Um, I just don't know why Tesla would want to let me put my vehicles up in competition against theirs when they know how much money it is. It'd be like Uber saying, we're going to go 100% driverless, but if you want to sit in the car, we'll pay you an extra $15 an hour. It's like, I don't know that Uber would want to do that. Or we'll give you not even an extra. We'll just give you $15 an hour out of our cut because it's going to
Right.
be the same price.
Right.
So I don't know why Tesla would be motivated to do that. But
Yeah.
I've seen people
So
say, well, because it's the right thing to do. That's not
no,
how corporations work.
no, no, no. I would see it. I would see again. The market is going to drive it. And drive it. Anyway, the market is going to rule as it always does. Tesla's not foolish. They're not going to charge less than the market will bear. They will charge what the market will bear. And yes, as they do that, theoretically, I would expect them to have a flat market for all the vehicles that are out there under their umbrella. If they don't, they will have revolts. Have you seen sometimes the McDonald's franchisees will have a revolt? They will even sue McDonald's headquarters. So if you've got a million owners out there that have their vehicles out and about, and Tesla starts doing things that are anti-competitive with regard to that million, yeah, you're back to lawsuit city, and you know,
Except you're at lawsuit city against a company with more money than has previously existed. I don't know. I am deeply concerned that a number of the promises that we've seen in terms of robotaxi will not come to fruition. I do not understand how I will be able to send my car across town without it being connected to some kind of
yep,
network
yep.
in case of emergency. That was never part of the original deal. It was just going to work. I didn't go into this banking on robotaxi becoming an effortless, easy, sure thing. I didn't come into it thinking I was going to put my car on the network. So I have, no real dog in this race, but I think a lot of people did. A lot of people did, and I think some of them are starting to get concerned. So we will see. Any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think I'm a great believer in the market. I am a great believer in Elon, but then Elon may not be running the company at some point. So there could be an evil boss that takes over, or a company that is less concerned and less interested in the consumer. But I don't think so, because the consumer is what the company does. That's what they're in the business to satisfy consumers. So whether that's the robotaxi consumer, the person who's trying to get the robotaxi ride, or whether that's the consumer who's putting their cars out there and has made a large investment in order to do that, I think Tesla, most companies, in my estimation, in my experience over the years, both as a consumer as well as a business owner, most most companies will do roughly the right thing based on self-interest, but self-interest is usually to what the consumer is requiring.
I think a lot of companies will do the right thing, but only after exhausting every other possibility. Uh, and if Tesla's not going to be interested in selling cars to consumers anymore, I don't know how much loyalty they would have to the people who already did. That's not a business they're in anymore. Their business now is delivering miles at the lowest rate per mile. And the best way for us to do that is to offer miles at a rate that Brian and Randy cannot afford to have a vehicle out for. But in the comments, I'd like to hear what you guys think. I know Elon has said that this would be a possibility. I'd point out Elon's said a lot of things. I'm still waiting for the Tesla candy, or at least the Elon branded candy. It's
Me
gonna be
too.
great. It's gonna be great. When we get here, I think the first thing he'll make is a sucker. So, guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What do we misunderstand? Leave it. I beg of you. I'm going to be out at the X Takeover this coming weekend in San Mateo. Join me, won't you? I tried to send an extraction crew to bring Randy, but they were unsuccessful. We lost 3 good men, and their families have our warmest wishes. Everybody else, like, subscribe, hit the buttons, hit the thumbs, do whatever you got to do, and stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you, clever robots, in San Mateo this weekend.